Gen 2 has some of the best Pokemon designs. Pokemon like Tyranitar, which is basically a stone version of Godzilla, Scizor, which is a mixture of a praying mantis, ants, and wasps, and Heracross, which is a bipedal fighting rhino beetle. But then why do many people think Gen 2 has the worst Pokemon designs overall? Especially since many Gen 2 Pokemon were designs cut from Gen 1 and introduced in Gold and Silver because of the original Game Boy's memory size limitations. So if people like Gen 1's Pokemon designs, shouldn't it apply to Gen 2 also? Well, both Gen 1 and 2 have similar design themes, like being very much grounded in nature through animal-focused design concepts with simple application of a foreign concept like a mythological creature or an element to represent typing. But Gen 1 was a little different. It had much more dinosaur/kaiju-like features to many of the middle and end stages of Pokemon evolutions. While Gen 2, although still simple, moves away from this and applies more softer animal-like features to the designs. Now, I do prefer designs being more grounded in the animal or thing they're trying to portray, with foreign concepts subtly implemented, which some Gen 2 Pokemon do. But there are a few big problems with Gen 2's execution. First off, many designs feel very similar to each other, with the majority having a brown, pink, or green color, as well as having not much depth to the design. Many are defined by the animal they're portraying with not enough influences from another concept, whether it's from its typing or something completely foreign. For example, Noctowl is based off of a horned owl, and that's kinda it. Ursaring is a bipedal bear with those French guard shoulder epaulets and a ring on its belly, as well as its Japanese name literally meaning ring bear, Octillery being a literal red octopus, but it's apparently meant to have tank resemblances, but this is more seen in its Gen 2 demo sprite. And Furret being based off of, come on, what's that animal, oh, that's right, yeah, that's right. Many designs are too directly depicting an animal with just coloring to represent their typing. Comparing both gens, Gen 1 had simple designs but with more sharper features and an aggressive tone to them. Gen 2's designs are still simple but have more softer features as seen in the eyes, rounded shapes, and expressions. But Gen 2's Pokemon have too much soft features that take away monster elements that should be prevalent in most of the designs. This is especially seen with the eye choices that are more rodent-like, less detailed, defined, or less sharper. Kinda like how Dragonite's eyes conveys less aggression than Charizard's. I assume this shift was done because the series was trying to appeal to a wider audience, especially since this was the gen that introduced baby Pokemon. Now, I do think some baby Pokemon's designs are really nice since they are just smaller, cuter forms of their middle evolutions. My favorites being Magby because it's a small duck/salamander/iguana/Jhoto mask thing, and Elekid with its AC power plugs just look very cute. But this is where the biggest problem comes from. Many of these baby Pokemon designs lack purpose. Specifically, a purpose for existing outside of selling merch and appealing to a younger audience. In-game, many of these Pokemon are unusable because of their weak stats, and for a generation with 100 new Pokemon, remove 15 for starters and legendaries, 7 Pokemon out of the 85 are basically useless. But this problem extends to more than just baby Pokemon in Gen 2. Again, I love some of these designs, but many feel unfinished because they don't evolve in this generation, so they themselves don't really have a purpose other than just another design in the Pokédex. Which is why I don't think Gen 2's designs are the worst, but they are kind of forgettable, especially with the mediocre stats these single-line Pokemon have. Yes, stats don't matter for a Pokemon's literal design, but in regards to the viability and memorability in-game, it does. And going back to the actual designs of the Pokemon, again, they feel incomplete. Like, why introduce Sneasel, Yanma, Gligar, Mischievous, etc., all Pokemon with a good mix of design concepts that can further be expanded upon, but don't. At least not in this generation. Which does these Pokemon lines no justice, as they're just left with these bad stats and missed potential in further design exploration. Now, this problem was because of hardware limitations of the Game Boy Color. According to an interview with Satoshi Tajiri, Gold and Silver's game director, they had over 350 Pokemon they wanted to include in the game, but many designs needed to be cut because of file size restrictions and probably balancing issues. Pokemon like Quillfish had an evolution, some Gen 1 Pokemon got new evolutions or split ones, there were even more baby pre-evolution forms, as well as some design families getting cut completely. Which confirms why Gen 2 feels so awkward and incomplete, only having 3 Pokemon that evolve twice, not counting the 3 starters, and why many Pokemon don't evolve or just have 1 even when they seem like they should continue. And I wish some of these designs made it in, they're just so good. but at the same time I can understand why others were scrapped. Dr. Lava and Chadpat both have a great video on the cut Pokemon. It's strange because some of the Gen 2 designs are an improvement to Gen 1s that follow the same design patterns, like the legendary trio Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos being very plain versions of the mythical birds they're trying to portray. While Raikou being based off of Raiju with tiger influences, Entei from Shishi Lion Dog Guardians and normal lions, and Suicune being a leopard with Aurora-like features do a much better job than Bird on Fire for Phoenix, Sharp Wings for Electricity Bird, and to be fair, I do actually like Articuno's simple design. And also the starters are all great, although I do think Gen 1 were better in regards to the grass and fire starters, as their animal concepts were more interesting and less simple. But I do prefer Feraligatr over Blastoise, as it is a very coherent design of what a bipedal alligator / caiman would look like, with little to no humanoid features, which I love. Well, except for that one humanoid feature. But anyways, Ho is a great interpretation of the Feng Huan, great concept and appropriately executed. And Lugia's foreign concept being based off of the Shinto dragon of the sea named Ryujin, while its animal concept is a grey heron mixed with a beluga whale and maybe a plesiosaurus. Lugia's design isn't as iconic or as well executed as Ho or even Mewtwo, but still a great set of legendaries. So it's obvious that Gen 2 has some amazing designs that have stood the test of time. But it's the softer features of the regular Pokemon, bland color schemes, and seemingly unfinished evolution lines accompanied with poor stats that really make many of the Pokemon from this generation forgettable. But again, there are some incredible designs that carry the rest of them, so for that reason, out of all 9 generations of Pokemon designs, Gen 2 is ranked 4th best. But what about Gen 1's Pokemon designs? Are they the best? You can find out in this video here.